in this episode.
It's hard to show off your $2,000 med kit and think that you're providing a service to the Instagram community.
Well, at the end of the day, the only real medical knowledge you need is you need to carry a tourniquet 24/7 everywhere you go, and if someone's injured, tourniquet around the neck, problem solved.
Yeah, that you will not have a patient anymore after you tourniquet around the neck.
Exactly.
In an obtuse world, Mark and Jefe will combine military, law enforcement, and general FUD knowledge to keep you vertical. Welcome to the Live, Laugh, Larp podcast.
Hey everybody, what's going on? Thanks for swinging by to another edition of Live, Laugh, LARP. Surprisingly enough, we're on episode 4, and this has been a lot of fun. We have a pretty interesting topic, one that we've hinted on for quite some time over the last couple of weeks. We are going to be talking about medical, but before we get into that, we have to say a special hello to the co-host, Jefe Actual. How you doing, Jefe?
Now it's a beautiful snowy day here in Kansas.
Yeah, we got about 4.5 inches, I think.
I mean, that's what we're just going to go with it. My wife says the big snows usually hurt, so I think we only got. We got about 5 or 6 though.
Yeah, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Was actually out at the Kansas State football game last night.
Yeah, that looked miserable, man. Like
it wasn't actually. It was pretty good. It was pretty good. Layers work.
Layers and you had like a ushanka on, or
yeah, I don't. What are those called? I don't even know.
Ushanka. I mean, I know the Russian term is ushanka. I don't know what.
Yeah. The Cousin Eddie hat.
Cousin Eddie. Yeah.
It's actually really warm too. It is
I
the
love
best purchase I've ever made from a Love's truck stop.
Oh man, I can tell you about some purchases I've made from a Love's truck stop, but this is supposed to be a PG, at least PG-13.
But before we get into that, man, we have something really cool to talk about. Just really quickly, our very first sponsor of the podcast. For you guys out there, may not know, putting these podcasts together aren't necessarily free. They're not necessarily expensive, but it's also really helpful to have people supporting the podcast as much as possible. So
Beer's expensive.
Yeah, gear is expensive.
No, beer.
Oh, beer.
Beer's expensive.
Beer and gear. Yeah,
beer
exactly.
Gear's even more expensive. Talk is cheap. Beer's expensive.
We've got. We also have our resident potato trying to get up on the couch, so you might hear some jingling in the background. But we want to say a special thank you to Atero Arms. They are our first sponsor, and I cannot think of a better company to support the podcast. Jefe and I have actually used their products, specifically their rear sight red dot mounts, and I have really, really enjoyed using those, especially setting that up on my Sam 5 previously, which is really, really great. And did you know when the founder started the company, he was only 21?
Man, it's doing something with your life. I was, studying some useless college degree for Raytheon.
So with that being said, like I said, we used the rear sight mount from Atero,
and it's stupid easy. Like my gunsmithing expertise. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, yeah.
My gunsmithing expertise kind of starts and ends with Dremels. But when I got my Atero Arms mount, I mounted on a PSA 103 with my 509T, a Holosun 509T. That was a lot of numbers and acronyms really fast. It took me it was like a 2 or 3 minute thing in my garage, and it held up great. I went and shot 2 or 3 courses, probably had like about 2,000 or 3,000 rounds out of a suppressed AK, and that thing was a tank.
Yeah, for sure. The other thing that I personally, I know Jeff has run it in a couple of courses, but I've also used their rear sight mount on the tactical games and at Kalash Bash and some of the local 2-gun matches as well.
I can't wait to try out their J-frame.
J-frame
mount.
So they also just launched this year their new AK grips. They look great. I think they're going to be pretty awesome. And if you guys are looking for some sight mounts for like your Ruger Mark IV, they have some options as well. So if you guys are interested, please swing on by and check out AteroArms.com. I'll have links in the podcast description for you guys to take a look at things.
It's definitely the most affordable way to start putting red dots on an AK. If you start looking at, I know Midwest Industries has their Alpha series, the Zenico, whatever the Ukrainian version was, or even do Midwest Industries like the side rail mounts.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Those just get pricey really quick. You can't
Really
even
quickly.
touch one for brand new for $120.
Mm-hmm.
So these are about what. Last time I checked, I don't know if this is for sure, but like $80, $90 per amount.
Yeah. Depending on when and where you buy it, it's going to be right around $80-ish.
After theft and shipping.
Yeah.
And it's, again, stupid simple. They have a wide range of mounts. You can go anywhere from pistol-mounted optics to, I think the Comp M1s and T1s and all the T's and comps and micros that you could want.
Yeah. Also, check your local dealers, local shops, rather. They may be a dealer for Atero Arms. I know that American Cash Exchange is a Atero Arms dealer. So we love those guys over at American Cash Exchange. We love Atero Arms, and
we love you guys.
We love you guys as
Except
well.
for you. You know who I'm talking about.
Yeah. Here, we're looking right at you.
Yeah, I'm looking at your Instagram page. You know who you are.
So much smut. All right, so let's get into it. This time we are going to be talking about medical. Medical is probably one of the most non-glamorous, underutilized aspect of what we in the 2A community think about. Obviously, we have the cool gun range stuff, the flat range LARPing stuff. We've got training that we talked about before. You have IDPA, USPSA, 2-gun competition stuff. I'm a big fan of all of the different Kalash competitions like Kalash Bash, Kalashnikon, so on and so forth. But medical gets overlooked. Why do you think medical gets overlooked so much?
Because software isn't sexy, hardware is.
That's 100%. Yeah,
that's you can put that on a bumper sticker or something like that. I think what people overlook medical, mainly because it's hard to demonstrate your expertise in it. Maybe that's a great way to explain it. Maybe it's just hard to show the community that you're good at it, besides just throwing tourniquets on yourself and or seeing how fast you can cut off the circulation of your arm,
right? Or showing your EMT diploma.
Yeah,
right?
there you go. I've seen that. Or you went to TCCC or SOC Med course. So, but ultimately, is that? Sorry, I'm going to derail. Is that Roxy farting?
No. There's something back over there. I don't know what
sorry.
it is.
I just keep it.
Yeah, I know, right?
Jeez. We're joined by 2 elderly dogs here, so we're hearing some creakies and noises. But getting back to the topic at hand, yeah, it's overlooked, and it's just not as cool. I mean, it's hard to show off your $2,000 med kit and think that you're providing a service to the Instagram community.
Well, at the end of the day, the only real medical knowledge you need is you need to carry a tourniquet 24/7 everywhere you go, and if someone's injured, tourniquet around the neck, problem solved.
Yeah, that you will not have a patient anymore after you tourniquet around the neck.
Exactly.
Speaking of which, you said carrying a tourniquet 24/7. Where's your tourniquet at?
Where's your tourniquet at?
It's my pocket. Snake systems.
I am literally sitting in the basement in my pajamas. So, I don't have my tourniquet on me, but I am within my humble abode within walking distance to a med kit. So that's my excuse.
Allegedly.
That's my excuse.
No.
All right. So
no, it's hard because for those are not the uninitiated, we're doing this in the basement of Mark's girlfriend's house. So I have to like actually show up with things so I can talk smack and actually back it up compared to Mark. He's just like, well, it's in that junk of a closet, the room of requirement.
Yeah, there's actually a sign over the YouTube room called the Room of Requirement. Those of you who are Harry Potter nerds will know exactly what that room is.
Is that where he keeps all the AKs at?
No, that's well, depends on which version. I mean, depends on which multiverse you're from, I suppose. But in this multiverse, that the Room of Requirement is where they practice magic before, like, they were going to assault. I don't know. I'm just being told secondhand information.
It's okay, man. Hey,
yeah,
we don't
he's giving me the
over
look.
here.
He's giving me the look.
So medical, right?
Medical, yeah. So, we've been trained at
Allegedly.
one point in time, right?
Allegedly.
Right. So we both have military background, and I have several courses through Combat Lifesaver when I was a lonely private back in the day, when it was here's your class and here's how to administer an IV. And never talked about the good old days. Never talked about a tourniquet unless like a limb was blown off, and then you put the tourniquet up on as high on the limb as possible if you can. But that was really it. Then fast forward to GOAT, and when I got to Fort Campbell with the 101st, then it was a little bit more streamlined. And okay, here's how you pack a wound. Here's how you tourniquet. Here's what you need to write down. Here's how you call a 9-line medevac. Very, very specific to the mission set at hand. But for individuals who are, well, let me back up. One last thing is, since I've been out, I've been through a couple.
Since you've been out.
been through a few CPR courses, which has been put on by my day job, which I actually appreciate them doing that. But
are they teaching compressions or rescue breaths plus compressions?
It was so 4 years ago. Well, 2018 was the first year that I did it. That was compression plus breaths. The next time, 2 years forward, I guess it was 2017. So 2019 was the second time that I went through it, and it was all compressions.
Yep. That's the new hotness is just compressions only.
Yep.
You're trying to keep blood literally pumping to their brain. That's all you're trying to do at that point.
Yep. So, in your opinion, what is where's the starting point for people to start with education? Let's go with education first. We'll talk about gear second.
Education wise, I'm going to kind of tie both education and gear at the same time. But starting off is just having that basic first aid at your home. If we want to just take the realm of medical, it's very easy to get into the sexy ankle IFAKs or blowout kits, but more often than not, having just having some basic band-aids, maybe some gauze, Tylenol or Midol, depending on which one you like more. Some basic boo-boo kit stuff, essentially at your house, or even in your go bags or EDC bag, or in your vehicles. Probably the place you should start, and how to essentially properly administer that, which any like adult human should have the understanding of how to put a Band-Aid on, how to put Neosporin on something before you put a Band-Aid on. When you have a headache, take Tylenol. If you are feeling poopy, take this. I think that's where it really needs to start with, is that very basic, low level, the everyday ins and outs. Because I have, for example, in my everyday backpack, I have a little Magpul DACA pouch with Band-Aids, I think of Tylenol, sunscreen, after sun, NyQuil, DayQuil, just that kind of basic stuff that you should carry. or not carry around, but at least have on hand. And the amount of times I use that over, your chest seals or combat gauze is night and day difference. I mean, I've never used a tourniquet on anybody really, but outside of training.
How about I always hear people talk about Israeli bandages. And that is that's a term given to this particular
pressure bandage.
Yeah, it's pressure bandage, right? And it's designed in such a way to create a pressure against a wound, correct? Right? I've seen it a couple of times. I probably should purchase one or two of those just to have them on the side. But
you can easily recreate that with a big roll of gauze. So again, as we talk, and this is like my generic theme when it comes to all our discussions. If you go back to podcast 1, I probably mentioned it, and I just kind of slowly add it in my autistic rants. Software is going to be a lot better than the hardware. Knowing how to make a pressure bandage out of a big roll of gauze is going to do you a lot more wonders than having an expired Israeli bandage or anything like that. You can make a lot of this stuff at home, and knowing how to do it. I'm not saying build tourniquets out of belts or anything like that to keep in your kit, but knowing how to, in a pinch, use a belt as a tourniquet just temporarily would be more beneficial than, buying, 50, 60 knockoff cat tourniquets and stashing them around your house.
Yeah.
So what gets a lot of people isn't just acquiring the gear, it's more the upkeep. That's what kills a lot of folks.
So the last podcast we talked about some books that you recommended. There was one I thought that is specific to the treatment or diagnosis of certain things, right?
Without looking at it on my phone, essentially I recommend 2 books. One was like a pocket pharmacy of here's the generic ailments. It has everything from kind of like the witchy sort of like homebrew stuff to actual medicines you need. The second one's I'm going to use this term very generically. It's the Grey's Anatomy book. If anybody didn't know, that entire show is based off a book about diagnoses and treatments. It's basically a large book of ailments and treatments. It's kind of intense to describe because everyone has, identifying a lot of this sort of stuff is really hard. It's like going on web. It's having WebMD in a book. That's essentially what it is.
Yeah, exactly. We do have in episode 3 links to a couple of different books that Jeff recommended. So definitely check that out if you guys are interested. If you have already listened to episode 3, thank you for that. But
go back and listen to 1 and 2.
Yeah.
And thank you for listening to 1 and 2.
But if you are new to the podcast, definitely check out the links in that episode. So
we'll probably, and I'm going to say it because I don't have to do it. We'll link it in this one as well.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and put it in there.
This is all about medical, anyways.
Yep. So we've got some pretty good starting points as far as where do the layman go to build the knowledge base, because like you said, the soft skill is always best. The soft skill is perishable as well.
It is. Yep.
So you should always continue to improve your understanding and know-how of taking care of those around you.
So a couple resources that I kind of been using. Skinny Medic on YouTube is a good start, and then Prep Medic as well. Those 2 guys are EMTs. I think one of them was 68 whiskey for a while, a medic in the military. I can't remember which one's which. But they have a lot of great information about this pre-built kits. They kind of do the same thing as, the gun, like a lot of gun tubers do. It's they buy all these different kits, test them out, and about how comfortable are they to carry, how effective they are. I think Skinny Medic does a lot of TCCC standard stuff and NAR, North American Rescue.
Yeah.
NARA, I think it's NARA. testing on stuff just to show how effective things are. That's always, the going on the internet's always a great start for resources, but you also make sure you have analog somewhere.
So the next thing is obviously starting to look at getting formal in-person education by a professional, because you can read and look at things all day long, but until you start actually practicing that aspect of it is going to only get you so far. One of the things that I have been doing here over the last, pretty much 2023, is diving deep into like these guys who are building primitive cabins out in the woods, right? And one of the guys,
Wargan Bushcraft or whatever.
No,
that was mine.
Oh, was it? Yeah,
yeah,
I'm Bush Radical.
Okay.
Bush Radical, yeah. So I really liked his channel, and one of the things that he continues to harp on in a lot of his videos is you can read and learn, anything, but until you actually put your hands on that whatever that you're trying to accomplish, you're really not going to fully understand or know. And once you start doing it, once you actually start practicing it physically, you end up learning tons and tons more information as well. So one of the first things that I would say from the get-go is just peruse your local area through like the Red Cross. And if you've never done any type of medical training whatsoever, simple CPR class would be a great place to start, I think.
Yeah. I know a lot of corporation kind of style businesses kind of mandate at least a CPR class. Other great resources to kind of like reach out and ask. I know just our local jurisdiction, if you reach out to the EMTs and our medics, you work for an organization, they will come out and teach you guys, because it's one of those check on learnings. If they can teach, random Joe citizen how to do some basic TCCC or some just basic first aid, it gives them an opportunity to test their knowledge at least on it. So make friends with an EMT maybe, or reach out to them if you guys are looking for some sort of training. If you guys have an organization or group, like if you're a Boy Scout leader, would be a great example. If you work for some sort of local church group, that's another great example where you can reach out and have them come out and train up some guys. I don't know how receptive they are to private, it's a private individual for coaching, but organizations are definitely something that you can at least attempt to try.
Yep. So good resources for you to start looking into is going to be the American Heart Association and the American Red Cross. You can Google both of those, and you could just also add on like classes to that. There's some online stuff that you can take. There should be some local classes in your area that might give you some additional resources for you to either take classes or find classes as well. There's a couple of different other things that you can look into, such as the My Medic March course. There's also a My Medic gunshot wound training course that you can look into. Those are pretty decent basic entry-level style courses. The best free blood loss prevention course is Stop the Bleed. I don't know if you've ever heard that. I've heard that one from time to time. There's another one that seems to be pretty decent, is the Mountain Man Medical Range Medicine Training course, and then the Civilian Medical course as well. Taking a look at those quickly through any type of Google search should get you most of the information that you're looking for as far as where to take these classes, and also get into actually taking them. I mean, I know that exploring something new is fairly intimidating, but at the very least, if you're able to find a local CPR class, and I've harped on this already in this episode a little bit too much, but if you can find a local CPR class and just go in and take that class, it's going to open your eyes, because it's not all about just going in and you've got a dummy on the floor and you do some chest compressions. They're also going to start looking at your environments. They're going to talk about, potential dangers or health concerns in your environments as well, and kind of help you with situational awareness as to certain things. Like, one of the things that I always like to do when I get into a new area, such as maybe I don't know why I would do this, but maybe I travel over to Topeka and I go to their mall. That is the saddest example of a mall I've ever seen. But
better than our mall.
Well, yeah, I suppose. But one of the things that I like to start doing when I get into those types of situations is I start looking for like AEDs. Where are those? If more times than not, you're going to find that someone is probably going to have a health concern before you need to draw your gun and defend someone.
Yeah, because Americans are fat as fuck, and heart attacks are, I think one of the top, I think it's like 4 or 5 now, like leading cause of deaths in the U.S. right now. So first of all, knowing where AEDs are at are always good, and then 2, they are pretty dummy proof. They're very, it was one of those things where it's a paint by the numbers sort of thing. It explains it out in relative detail of what you should be doing in 5th grader terms.
And I'm pretty sure that most of those are going to be not even in. I don't even think they have writing. I think it's all like pictures.
Yeah, it's broken down Barney style. Like,
yeah,
it's meant for children to be able to use if need be.
For sure. Yeah. So just if you take anything from this podcast, next time that you're in a mall, Academy Sports or Cabela's or
your work, wherever you work at.
Yep. Walmart, whatever the case may be, just out and about, a restaurant, it doesn't matter. Start looking around for certain things that you could use as a civilian to help other people, whether it be an AED, a first aid kit, a fire extinguisher, small little things like that. Start branching out and using your situational awareness to better help yourself and others as well. So that's what I've got. That's pretty much where I'm at on this. Is there anything else that you wanted to bring up?
When it comes to medical, I would say also look at some of the kind of home remedies is also a good way to do it. I know some of them sound pretty witchy, but some of them actually are pretty solid. My biggest one we've been playing around with and abusing somewhat is the garlic cloves and fermented honey. So you take a jar of honey and put garlic cloves in it and ferment it. Really great for preventing colds. My wife and I have been taking that since we've had our young one for like the past year, and I haven't been sick besides what Brahms did to me that one time. I don't want to talk about it.
Okay. So
don't get the bag of burgers from Brahms 10 minutes before closing in a cop car.
Oh yeah.
It is the worst decision I've ever made, and I've made a lot of bad decisions in my life.
So weird question though. How does that taste?
Oh, it's fantastic. Oh, the garlic?
Yeah.
It's
well, we all know Brahms is good too, but
except for that bag of burgers. Oddly enough, the honey kind of becomes spicy. Becomes like a spicy garlicky honey, and it's pretty decent. This inhaling raw cloves of garlic kind of sucks a little bit. So my wife just raw dogs it straight down the pipe, and then I cut mine up in little pieces because I would be terrible. I would be terrible if I had to have a boyfriend for any reason. I have the worst gag reflex in the world. Like, it's
sorry, ladies.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry for those. What's the term? Individuals with penises, I think is the politically correct term. It just won't work out with us. I apologize.
Yeah. All right, so we're going to go ahead and start transitioning. That is kind of
Speaking
our
of transition.
not that way, but this is a good point to move on.
Yes.
To our next topic. We have a lot that we could say about medical stuff, and we'll expand it in other episodes, especially if you guys have specific things that you are interested in hearing us discuss. You can send that information in either through Instagram at the Live Laugh Larp _podcast. You can DM us there, or you can just email us at live.laugh.larp.podcast at gmail.com. All of that, again, is in the description of the podcast. So if you have any questions, concerns, comments, complaints, manifestos, you can send those to us there. But we wanted to move on to training because that's our second segment of each one of these podcasts. Start off with guns or whatever we want to talk about, move into the training aspect, and then get into the fitness aspect in segment 3. So this time I wanted to do something a little bit different and talk about something that I like to do, not only with pistols specifically. Rifles, it's pretty easy, I would say, but pistols is where you see the most benefit of this. And it's something that I've pulled from being a bow hunter, of all things. What I have found is shooting at distance. For bow hunting, we're talking like 40 yards, 50 yards, 60 yards, depending on how your pins are set up on your bow, on your compound bow. You're able to extrapolate a lot of information at shooting distances 40, 50, 60 yards by what happens to that arrow when it impacts the target. Is it low? Is it left? Is it right? You can really understand what has happened every time you loose an arrow. And that's the same thing with pistols as well. In my opinion, shooting 40, 50, 60 yards as well, you can start to see where you are making some errors, whether it be your sights are not aligned correctly, your red dot's not exactly where it needs to be, maybe you're, jerking the trigger, or you're shooting low left, and that's going to be accentuated even more at longer distances. You're going to start to feel those things, especially dialing back and slowing your shooting down quite a bit. You're going to start to understand how all of that translates into shooting fairly fast at 3, 5, 7, 10 yards. That's kind of one of the things that I've really enjoyed. I pull a lot of information on that, just even doing something as simple as dropping the tailgate on my truck, kind of sitting on that or leaning on it, and then shooting, 40, 50, 60 yards, and just kind of understanding what just happened when I pulled the trigger. Did it break the way I wanted it to? Did I anticipate it? So the muzzle of the pistol dipped down before the round fully went off. Did I follow through? Those types of things. Is that anything that you do, Jefe, or do you just you're just too good to really care?
I'm still kind of going back and forth on how to sight in, especially when it comes to handguns and red dots. I used to be the camp of a 10 or 15 yard zero and do it from sandbags, off a tripod, off a table. And now I've seen somewhat of the light of doing it freestyling at 25.
Why is that? Why freestyling?
Because
I don't want to say, this is something I have done for most of my EDC pistols. All of my EDC pistols, I have shot offhand 25 yards with my defensive loads to zero my red dot. And a lot of people is like, oh, you shouldn't do that. What is your opinion on that?
Mainly, and this is just a me shooting thing. Oddly enough, I shoot more consistently is not the exact term I want to use, but I shoot more
Better.
Mo better. I shoot mo better. No, it's for me. When I start adding sandbags and everything like that, I always feel like I'm chasing zeros around, and it seems really weird compared to if I just do it offhand. So I don't know if it's just a personal tism thing or not. I've had a lot better luck at getting a zero that I'm more accurate with offhand than I am with sandbags. And that could just be part of bad mechanics on my end. I don't know just yet. We're still kind of going down this journey of sighting in red dots.
So for me, 25 yards is the zero on all of my red dots and will be the zero on all of my red dots. Can I tell you why? No. But that's what the manual says, and so that's what I just go with. And I've heard a lot of people is like, "Oh, why are you doing it? It should be 10 yards because defensive encounters are going to be 10 yards or less. You have to worry about height over bore and so on.
You always
and so
have
forth.
to worry about height
Exactly.
over bore. So, if I remember correctly, if you do a 25-yard zero. Or even do like an inch high at 25, which most of us will say it's a 25-yard zero, but you're actually probably maybe in the general ballpark. That gets you, if I'm doing my math correctly, about 7 to 9 inches at 100 drop. So you're going to be, so your point of aim is going to be, point of impact is going to be 7 to 9 inches low at 100. But everything else should be relatively on that same trajectory. So I'm all for 25 zeros. I've always been a fan of 25 zeros on handguns and rifles. No matter what kills a lot of people, and when I say kills, I'm not talking about you're going to get killed in the street if you have a 10-yard zero, is what really is the downfall is if you sight your gun for 7 or 10 yards and you have to take a 25-yard shot. What is that going to look like at 25 yards?
Right. So
and
what's your dope?
Yeah, what's the dope at that? And if you know that and you practice it, that's one thing. But at the same time, a lot of people will go sight in their SCCY Skies 380s at 5 yards and say that's good enough for government work, and then are lost in the sauce on why they can't hit stuff at 10, 15 yards. A great example was with my wife. I got her a Glock 42 with the TLR6 on it, and it had the laser on it. And we were sighting it in one day, and it was at, I think it was like 5-6 yards. We were playing around with it, and I was intentionally, sighting it low at that distance. And she just didn't understand about, and I, before I went on my TISM rants about terminal ballistics and it's an arc, not a line. She stopped listening, so I lost her. But it really started showing when she tried to start shooting at 15, 20 yards of that red dot or that laser, and one couldn't see it. I digress. And then 2, it wasn't anywhere where it was originally. So this is food for thought. If you are sighting your gun in for 5-10 yards, more often than not, you're probably not going to be aiming at that point anyways. You're just going to be, as John will call it, instinctive shooting. I don't know if he came up with that term, but he taught it to me, so therefore it belongs to him in my book. Yeah. It's more of, I know what grip feels like. I know what my presentation looks like. I don't even have to look at sights to know I'm generally in the ballpark.
Yeah.
So
that's good. So moving back to shooting at longer distances, has that been something that you've done? I know that I think you sent a video while you were out at the range one day where you shot like 100 yards with a 380 or something like that. With my Ruger LCP. Yes, I always am a proponent for shooting at range, or shooting at distance. And most people will instantly go, well, I only have 10-yard range. I only got 25-yard range, which you can replicate all this stuff with targets. A 1-inch
if you are doing a 1-inch circle, I think at 5 yards, that replicates what a human-sized target's going to look at 100 yards. So if you can effectively hit a 1-inch circle fairly easily at 3-5 yards, that translates directly at 100.
You're going to have to probably learn. You actually have to go to a 100-yard range to learn where you need to point your sights at 100 yards to make sure that that round arcs in correctly.
7 to 9. So like, if you're shooting at a man-sized target, for example, if I have a 1-inch circle at you in front of you at 3 yards, that same circle that you're looking at through your sights, that is going to translate to generally a human-sized target at 100 yards. So if I'm hitting that 1-inch circle at 3 yards, I can hit that 100-yard target. It's not going to be, I'm not going to be Delman headshots. I'm not going to put center mass shots, but I'm going to be making effective rounds on target.
Right.
And that's something that I've brought a lot to whatever training course, whatever people I'm teaching, is that if you can make accurate shots at, very, very small probability targets at very close distances with all the time in the world, you can translate that directly into long range. The only thing that's changed is your target's now 100 yards away, but it's the same. You're looking at the exact same thing.
Yeah. And I can tell you from my own personal experience, shooting a fairly large, I guess it would be a man-sized target, the target that we have out at our normal range.
Are you talking about that 3-inch gong that dinged at 300 yards?
Yeah, that was actually pretty awesome.
Totally on purpose.
Yeah, totally on purpose. Got it on video, and his reaction is priceless. But no, the IPSC target. Yeah. I think that it's actually a little bit larger than, say, like an IDPA cardboard target, just slightly. But even shooting that at 100 yards can be challenging for people who are just not used to doing that. So it's definitely something to try at the very least.
I'd say if you guys are going to try this, I would say first start small. Go to like the what I usually use is go to Walmart, go like where they sell like those stickers for garage sales where you write the prices on the sticker.
Oh yeah.
Go buy a pack of those and go throw 10 or 15 on a target and put it at 3 yards and try to put a round as cleanly through the center of that as you can. Remember, mechanical offset exists, so it's going to take you a couple rounds to figure out where that mechanical offset is. But if you have the mechanics down to consistently put a round through that little sticker each and every time and cleanly, that directly translates into shooting 100 yards. The only thing that is different now is in your mind is that target's now 100 yards away, not 3 yards away.
Yeah. And realistically, the reason why we're harping, at least I'm harping so much when it comes to pistols on this, not rifles. Rifles, you can replicate all of this with rifles, right? Same type of thing. If you are able to, bring your rifle to the local indoor range, they may only have 25 yards, but 25 yards trying to shoot something that's an inch, 2 inches side, in diameter is going to greatly help you as well. But the problem is, we all know, number one, rifles are better, pistols suck. And the reason for that is you have more points of contact on a rifle. Your cheeks on the buttstock, obviously your shooting hands on the pistol grip. You've got another hand way out on the forearm or the...
You're not holding a pound and a half object 2 to 3 feet away from you and then exerting 5 pounds of pressure on it and expecting it not to move.
Exactly. In addition to that, most time when you are shooting for accuracy with a rifle, you're usually braced up against something. That just comes pretty much secondhand for a lot of people. You're saying no?
No, I'm saying, yeah.
Bipods.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Bipods. You have bipods, tripods.
Sandbags, whatever. Yeah. So that's why doing this with a pistol can really teach you a lot, because like Jefe was just saying, you have, a 1 to 2 pound piece of metal and or polymer.
Mostly polymer. If you're doing the
stretched out in
Lord's
front of
work,
you.
it's polymer.
I will say, I'm just going to throw this in here. I am testing a Global Ordnance Excalibur match, and it's been a lot of fun to shoot so far. I don't have a red dot mounted on it. I started with the iron sights first, and was able to put 3 rounds right on top of each other at 25 yards with that thing. And
Are you sure you didn't miss?
what's that?
Are you sure you didn't miss?
No,
Like,
no,
I
no,
put
no,
one
you-
round on target and missed the other 2.
And we're just going to say all 3 of them went through the same. No, it was a clover leaf.
Okay,
You know, yeah,
okay.
yeah, for sure. Now, rounds 4 and 5 were about an inch or so, but I suck at freaking pistols, and I suck at red dot or iron sights. You put a red dot on a pistol, and I'm better. But yeah, so that's kind of the thing that I'd encourage you guys to do, is check that out.
I'm going to be the adult in this room, though. If for any reason you have to be in a defensive shooting with a handgun and you're shooting at 100 yards, you probably shouldn't be shooting at that thing.
That is yes.
So this is something that it is a rare occasion to be shooting at 100 yards with a handgun. It's a rare occasion to be shooting at any significant distance.
Unless you're in Vegas at a country western.
And you're Dan Brazilian and asking for the cop's gun so you can return fire. Yeah. No, just the adult legal advice. I don't know what your jurisdiction you're listening to this from, but chances are any defense attorney or any prosecutor is going to look at that case and saying it was in self-defense. He was 100 yards away and you're popping rounds off at him. Your mileage may vary, but I'm just giving you the blanket. Hey, it's understandable if you had to shoot somebody 5-10 yards from you. It's a different story when you have to shoot them at 60, 100, 120 yards away with a handgun.
Yep.
So
And that's
the
sound
legal
advice.
spiel.
Yeah, that's sound advice. And that is actually something that Masada Ayub touches on in his Mag 40 class. So if you guys have ever wanted to, definitely check out that course. I took it in 2020, and it quite possibly was one of the best classes as far as what not to do and why you should never carry a firearm, followed up by why you should always carry a firearm. It was a very, very interesting class with a lot of case study to back it up. So
I know Masad, a lot of his classes are, again, the software, not the hardware. So
that is 100%. Yep. So there is that. I did not prepare anything for segment 3.
So segment 3, how much time? What are we at right now?
We're at 47.
Okay. So segment 3, we kind of talked about this during. We were for a while talking about doing a carry at the gym, kind of.
Oh yeah.
Video series, video series, trying out different things for how to carry a gun at the gym. Everything from like off body to fanny packs and backpacks to Enigmas to belly band holsters. And one of the testing criteria was we were going to try different types of workouts. So since we didn't really have anything planned, I was want to talk about different types of workouts that you could find relatively easy in most metropolitan areas, if you would, if you're looking at first getting into some sort of fitness regiment. We already been a proponents of going to a jiu-jitsu gym of some sort. I don't know what are they called, dojo? I don't know what they. Here it's a combative sports center is where we have ours, but that's always I think number one of the first things to go look at. And then the second one is, and I know we're gonna have a lot of people hit the pause and delete button off this, but some sort of CrossFit-esque gym. I know a lot of them are going away from CrossFit right now, but strength and conditioning gyms or cross training gyms where it has a structured workout is always a great starting point. So the tirade is CrossFit trademark, which we can't really use it, so I'm going to kind of use it as strength conditioning or cross training. I'm going to pass it off to Mark.
Well,
what's your thoughts on that style of workout when I say CrossFit?
Well, the first thing is I found out today.
Okay.
It's a very snowy day here, but I did find out today that you cannot run through a campground. You have to ran because it's past tense.
Is that the joke that you?
That is the joke. Yeah.
That I've been like we've been okay. All right. Hey, so a sheep, a drum, and a snake fall off a cliff.
Yeah. It took me over a week.
Yeah, it took you a week for that joke.
I figured that one out. No,
what,
but
what video was that when we recorded that? It was at the gym.
Yeah, we were.
It was like one of your workout videos.
Yeah. I don't get that. But then, yeah.
It was a week later. This guy texted me. He's like, "I finally got that joke." He was editing the video. You were editing the video or something.
But man, the biggest thing that I always try, we talked about it last episode, but obviously we need to try to find something fun, something that you're going to enjoy when you do it, right? One of the things that I have found over the last couple of years is cycling. It's easy. You just get a bike and go. It's pretty simple. There's a really good app out there called Strava that can help you not only plan your routes but also challenge you.
I'm going to put a caveat. If you are one of those secret squirrel guys, or you work for the state government, or you could be a potential target of terrorists, don't use Strava.
Oh yeah, very easy to find.
But if you're normal Joes like us, that no one cares if we die or not,
yeah.
you can go ahead and download it.
Exactly. If you are worried about your personal security, obviously there is that. But we live kind of in the urban sprawl of Kansas City. We are fairly out in the country. We can be, in dirt roads within 5 minutes in most cases.
On dirt roads.
Well, yeah.
It took us on a 35-miler.
Yeah, that was pretty tough. But out here, we can just jump on a dirt road and go as long as our heart's desire, which is really great. But a lot of people don't have that aspect of it. So the next thing is find some type of workout that you're going to enjoy. Maybe it's swimming. That's a very good cardiovascular style of workout. That
I'm going to do the political thing right now. You're evading my question. I asked you, what's your thoughts on the CrossFit style workouts? That was the question, and now we look at this guy.
I'm trying to. Yeah, I'm doing a very long
Fit and Fire 2024. Make AKs great again.
I do not mind CrossFit.
Okay.
I don't have a problem with it. Now, the areas that I caution people is you have to be very careful on the workouts because you can injure yourself very easily. That's pretty much standard with anything, though.
Yeah.
Right.
So what happens, I think, and we use the term CrossFit. First of all, we can't, I guess, I don't know if we can legally use the term CrossFit, because if you do, then Dave Castro comes out of the closet and kills you with a 45-pound Rogue barbell.
Yeah.
But when I talk about that, I'm talking about the strength and conditioning stuff that we've been doing, where you're mixing Olympic lifting with traditional strength training mixed with heavy cardio and endurance style workouts, where you're doing metcons or chipper wads or anything like that. Where I think that you were just alluding to, yes, it is like any other sort of workout. You can definitely hurt yourself, and I think CrossFit is more prone to it because, one, you're doing excessive loads for long durations of time,
right? And
then ego checks into place. Yes, I can deadlift 315. Humble brag. no, it's not humble brag. But yeah, I can deadlift 315 a couple times. But if you're expecting me to deadlift 315 for 25 minutes for high reps, that's just that's not possible. You have to really dumb it down.
Yeah.
And it sucks because it's one of those, yes, I feel really strong at the beginning, but 22 minutes in, I'm not as strong, and that's where injuries start happening.
Yep, for sure. And that's one of the reasons why my right shoulder is jacked up, because I got my first exposure to CrossFit in Fob Leatherneck, RC Southwest in Afghanistan. And they are all about, here's how you do a kip pull-up, but don't really show the mechanics of how to do a kip pull-up. And so I'm just trying to mimic it. And next thing I know, I feel a pinch in my shoulder, and I couldn't lift my arm, the next day. So a few days later, it was fine. I've had it looked at. There's no tears or anything, which is good. But it really set me back and really kind of put me in a situation where, I didn't want to do that anymore, you know?
And so it's what we see a lot with, I've seen, so let me give a quick backstory, my adventure with CrossFit. So in 2007, I go to ROTC, and I remember check into college. I take my first PT test. It was like the second day I was in college. It was like 22 push-ups, like 30 sit-ups, and the cadre picked me up at 20 minutes in a pickup truck.
Yep.
And on the 2-mile run.
Yeah.
On the 2-mile run.
So I just need to throw this in. When I did my first PT test in basic training in 2000, I was at 17 push-ups, 30 sit-ups, and 25 minutes 2-mile.
Yeah. So and the cadre who picked me up in the pickup truck, solid earth guy, was one of those guys that, we'll talk like, I was an RI instructor for 10 years, and then there's like a 30-year gap where he doesn't really want to talk about what happened, and then he's back to being an RI instructor. So he kind of pushed me to the group that was doing CrossFit, and then within a year I was maxing the APFTs. So if you have good coaches and understand the programming, it could be very helpful. What happens a lot is, one, your ego gets in your way, and then two, you just have people, you don't have coaches, you have guys that do CrossFit trying to tell you how to do it.
Yeah.
Like you have that example, it's like, hey, here's how to do a kipping pull-up. And I know you and I have talked about it several times during our workout sessions, or, hey, here's how to do a clean. You deadlift it and then pick it up really fast, which is not what you're doing. But.
Yeah. I have a lot of training scars when it comes to lifting, because I've been lifting a certain way for my entire life, and now understanding, hey, this is why you herniated your disc trying to squat 275 when you're a junior in high school and you weigh $130, and you rounded your back and so on and so forth. So all of that is to say is, you definitely need to figure out a workout program that is going to get you on track in a habitual manner that you crave for that time to work out. And this is an admission that I'm not really proud to say. It's coming from a guy who hasn't been to the gym in probably 3 months at this point. And it's really tough for me to say. A lot of things going on in life right now, and I feel a bit of hypocrisy because I should be setting that time aside for myself, right? One of the things with most budgets is you pay yourself first, right? That is the number one thing when it comes to money, is you pay yourself, whether that be as putting your money in a 401k or a retirement plan or a Roth IRA, whatever the case may be, that's you paying.
Or treat yourself with a new AK.
Or treat yourself with a new AK. Or a H&R M16 A2 upper.
Fuck, you bought God.
I got to build out the freaking Afghan rifle that I carried. All right, leave me alone. All right, that's my Christmas present to myself.
It's It's not. We're okay. So the time of recording
Black
right now is
Friday.
the 26th of November.
There's a thing called Black Friday.
Yeah.
Okay. And
Was it a good
apparently, well, it's an okay deal. I think so.
Okay.
FN barrel,
Allegedly.
So
It's an FN marked barrel.
Yes.
I don't think.
With all of that being said, once again, you got to find your path, and hopefully this helps you in some way start turning those gears inside your head as far as what you need to do. But that pretty much covers it. You got anything else that you wanted to say on the fitness aspect?
No.
Okay. All right. So that pretty much covers it for this this hour. We're going to encroach a little over.
What are we at right now?
We're at 1 hour.
Oh, neat.
So
30 seconds. Ready?
But as always, we're going to turn it over to Jefe for his last 30 seconds. Go ahead.
This is going to sound pretty hypocritical, but always vet your sources wherever it comes to getting training, coaching, mentoring, be it in the firearms realm or if you go to a CrossFit box or get coaching for jiu-jitsu. Always vet your sources and be open and honest and ask questions about their knowledge, experience, their training, their background. And most people that are, most coaches, whether it be, again, whatever realm it is, if they are the real deal, they have the training and resources to back it up. It's the individuals that always are shady with their background you got to be worried about.
Yep.
Just go on my quick tangent. There's a lot of coaches that I've dealt with where you ask what your background is. Like, well, I've been doing CrossFit for, like when I used to be big in CrossFit, I've been doing CrossFit for X amount of years. I'm like, cool. What training have you been to? Have you been to Power Athlete? Have you even been to like CrossFit 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, whatever? And more often than not, the people that don't have that kind of expertise or background in any sort of the field that they say that they're masters of, it has been a poor experience. So always vet your sources, whether when you are getting into any sort of training. So
yeah, that's good. Anybody who you ask should be able to give you some type of resume. I think that's good. My last 30 seconds, which I will keep under a minute. Yours is almost a minute and a half.
Really?
Yeah, that's all right. It's fine. It's fine. But my last 30 seconds is, at the very minimum, put together some type of emergency kit for your car. Yesterday, I went to the K-State game in snow.
I counted 22 vehicles on the side of the highway from Manhattan to Ogden.
That's good. Yeah.
22 vehicles.
22, yeah. So in a stretch of 5 miles?
Not even that.
Yeah.
It's like 4.5. But.
Yeah. So you need to ensure that you have certain things like a little deal of water, replace that on a regular basis. Maybe a small candle. Those little tea candles will keep you warm more than you think it does. A blanket, whether it be a space blanket or an actual blanket. First aid stuff.
Americana pipe dream. Go get yourself a Merino.
yeah. Get a whoopee. Those types of things. A lot of people don't think about. Jumper cables. Something simple. A tow strap. I went hunting with our buddy, our mutual friend, on Saturday, and I turned off of the main road onto his road, dropped him off at his house, turned around and came back, and at that intersection, there was already someone off in the ditch. Mm-hmm. This girl had gone too fast and went through the stop sign and went into the ditch. I had a tow strap. I said, hey, do you need pulled out? And she's like, no, I've got someone already on the way. Tow truck's on the way. So, which is great. Make sure you have those contact phone numbers saved, so on and so forth. So have a plan. Make sure you have additional items for you to survive if you get into a situation.
Bare minimum, hats, glove, and a blanket.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I know it's wintertime. You might be listening to this in summertime. So, If you do end up listening to this in the summertime, make sure you have plenty of water.
Fanny pack, sunscreen, shorts, a sweet retro 80s playlist, maybe.
Yeah. That
download it on your phone, obviously.
So that is our 90-second
double 90 seconds, the 30 90 second.
So, but at the end of the day, we really do appreciate everybody's support. We have been tracking our analytics for these podcasts, and it means so much to see our numbers go up each and every single time you guys are listening to this. That means a lot to us. We're going to be at SHOT Show coming up here in just a little over a month and a half. We've already got everything planned out. Have you got your airline ticket yet?
I'm waiting for Google to tell me my flights are cheaper.
Oh, okay.
Because flying bougie Frontier for I need to make sure I'm only.
At the very least, I have my airline ticket, and we have our room at SHOT Show. So we're hoping to do a SHOT Show surprise podcast. I guess maybe have a couple guests.
Can we do this live?
We could. Well, I don't know if we can do it live, but I think that we could, at the very least, do it like in real time, where we can just set up and start recording, and then just have people come by and start talking and stuff. And we could set up in the media room on one day, so that'd be a lot of fun for you guys.
No big deal.
No big deal. Next episode is going to be our Christmas special. So if you have any questions,
it's our non-denominational holiday special.
We're going to put the Christ back in Christmas. But with that being said, if you have anything that you have to interject, if you have something that you want to ask us or anything like that, please reach out to us through Instagram or through the email. Contact information is in the podcast description. That being said, we're going to finally get out of here. Thanks again so much for listening, guys. I really do appreciate it. Last word?
Yeah, 90 seconds?
No.
No, I'm done.
Okay, you're done. Okay. We'll get out of here. Thanks again, guys. Appreciate it. And don't forget to live, laugh, and LARP.